James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson, we're going to learn the most essential country strumming style using Me and Bobby McGee. Goes like this.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, when I was feeling near as faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed the diesel down just before it rained, rode us all the way into New Orleans.
And why I really like to use this tune in particular is because it's really simple, just 3 chords. It lets us focus on that strumming, and the skill that we're really gonna practice and that we're really gonna learn today is how to be precise when picking, you know, as we're strumming, because we do have to nail those root notes, and that's kind of tough, right? You know, you don't want to be like slowing down, you know, and doing that sort of thing. It has to all be smooth. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. If your strumming or your chords still aren't 100% there, I have some other resources for you. I'll put a link in the corner and down below for that, and that'll help train you up, get that muscle memory there, and you'll be ready to tackle something like this, no problem. But we are gonna approach this in levels, so you are going to be able to follow along to a certain point in this lesson. Anyways, jumping in with our chord shapes, we have A, D, and for that I just slide my ring finger up to the 3rd fret and I can make my D chord pretty seamlessly. And then we would go back to A, just sliding our ring finger down, and then we would go to E, and I leave my middle and ring down, and then I put them up a couple strings and I can make my E chord. Planning out your chord transitions and eliminating all that extra time shaves off like milliseconds, and that helps your rhythm. It helps out every other aspect of your playing, so it's important to take that stuff into account. Anyways, we have those chord shapes. I'm just going to write out the progression in the corner here. This is the second half of the verse. I'm choosing this because it has all 3 chords in it, and it'll be great to demonstrate this whole thing. But once you get the gist of it, you know, you'll be able to apply it to any part of the song. We're going to start off on our A chord, and let's do level 1 of the strumming. It goes like this. So I'm playing root, down, up, over and over again. And root at this point just means to aim for the thicker strings of the chord. You don't have to nail the root precisely. I don't want you to. I want you to just aim for the thicker strings and focus on your rhythm being nice and steady. You know, getting that feeling. Root, down, up, root, down, up. Just going between those 2 strokes. A root and then a down, up. And then level 2, I would go root where we are picking that A string for the A chord. Root, down, up, root, down, up. And your goal is for it to feel as smooth and comfortable as when you're not aiming as much. You know, like here I'm kind of getting a few strings, but then I get just the A string. And you know what? If you miss, it's fine. It's not a huge deal. Don't let that interrupt your rhythm, because it's more important to keep that feeling going than it is to hit the correct string. But we are practicing hitting the correct string right now. And once you're comfortable with that, you can hit the A string, down, up, and then the E string. And on paper, that's your strumming pattern. Classic country strumming pattern. You know, Johnny Cash, all that kind of stuff, right? Like a million people play it just like that. And by the way, all these diagrams, all this stuff that we're going to be learning, it's on my website, completely free. That way, you know, you can just go there and you can practice along. I'm going to explain to you how to practice it. Basically the same order that I show you stuff in this lesson. That's the order you're going to practice it in. And I'm going to say, hey, practice this 2 measures over and over again, you know, because that's by targeting specific areas, that's how you're going to get better. First things first, I'm going to label the root as the root of the chord. The root of the A chord is the A string. And then that other note I'm hitting, like when I hit the low E string, we're going to call that A, as in like an alternate bass note. alternate bass note, right? So root, down, up, alternate bass note, down, up, root, down, up, alt, down, up. And that's how I'm going to refer to it. Now, when we play it like that and we leave those strings open the whole time, I feel like that low E string, as it rings out, it kind of muddies up the sound of it. So something that we can do, we play root, down, up, alt, down, up. And when we go back to our root, I lightly touch the string with my thumb to mute it. Root, down, up. So I only let that string ring when it's its turn. So my thumb is like a little gatekeeper, you know, it's muting the string when it's not in use. So when I play the root, it's down, and then I let it up to play the alt. That's just a little finishing touch that really takes your playing to the next level. Totally not essential though. And we would do that a whole bunch on the A chord. And I don't know about you, but my fingertips are killing from holding the A chord for so long. Let's switch to the E chord now. And for the E chord, it's going to be the same concept, but the root is on the E string, and then the alt is on the A string. So first, we just play the root over and over again. And it's pretty easy on an E chord. You don't really have to aim for much, right? It's just the outside string. And then the alt, you really got to aim. I missed it there. You know, you really got to aim to get it. If I'm going to do it slowly, it's almost harder. You know, once I speed it up, I start getting into the feeling of it. But doing it slowly, you know, don't let yourself tense up to aim though. You want to keep it nice and loose. And same deal, root, alt, but we don't have to mute anything. It's actually a little bit easier. And then finally, we learn this with the D chord. So for that one, our root is the D string. The root, in this case with these three chords, it's beautiful because it's just the name of the chord, right? The root of the A chord is the A string. The root of the E chord is the E string. The root of the D chord is the D string. And then the alternate bass note is the A string. So root, down, up, alt, down, up. And for this one, you'll notice I just have my thumb lightly touching the low E string the entire time, just for when I strum it, just so I don't accidentally get that ringing out. And then once you've worked on it on each chord shape, apply it to the chord progression in the corner here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull down my harpoon of my dirty red bandana. It's playing soft while Bobby sang the blues. Windshield wipers slapping time. He's holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, it ain't nothing, honey, if it ain't free. And feeling good was easy, Lord, but when Bobby sang the blues, you know, feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. And I didn't do it perfectly there, but I kept the rhythm going steady the entire time, and that's what's going to make it sound good. A little tip, if it is a bit much for you to suddenly jump into that, is you can just play the bass notes. So you could go like, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, it ain't nothing, honey, if it ain't free. You know, and you still make the chord shape, but you don't do the down up part. You don't strum the chord, you just play the bass note from it. And that's a good like halfway point to work your way into it. Otherwise, I want you to practice it just like we did in this lesson. I actually have a page on my site that goes over all of this stuff. It has all the charts and everything. It's all free. You can just visit that right now, and that'll help you figure out, that'll help you practice through the whole thing. And, while you're down there, you might also see a link to my premium courses if, you want to help support the channel. And also, if you want to support yourself and get further on guitar faster and, you know, be able to do all the things that you want to do with guitar. You know, it's not about learning all these technical things. It's about playing songs, right? It's about playing songs with your friends or in your living room. And that's the kind of help that I want to give you. So please check that out if you enjoy learning guitar with me. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.